Sometimes God redirects our steps when we least expect it. That's exactly what happened to me today. Here's the backstory. A couple of days ago, Quinn from the channel Deconstructing Jehovah's Witnesses, he reached out to me and he was interested in what we were doing over here with my book of Bible stories. And he's got a wonderful investigative channel. You've got to check it out. But he contacted me about coming on his channel and talking about some of what I've been finding in my book of Bible stories, 1978 edition. And I grew up, born and raised in this religion. I believed it for 58 years. And the art was always terrifying. And it was only later in life, after, being a professional artist, that I started looking into this and realizing at the end of my therapy that religious trauma too was at the root of where my fears and anxiety did begin. So that's what began the search. But as we were talking, Quinn and I, he was asking me, had I gone through the Young People Ask book? And I said, no. I said, I have it in my library, but I'm focused in on my book of Bible stories, and that's got me busy, and it's bad enough. And he said, I've heard others say there's some interesting things in there. And I said, I wouldn't doubt it. But he asked me if I would just take a look. He'd like go through the book and see if I could find anything. I don't have time to go through all these pictures. But I said, sure, I will, try to take a look. And I thought, oh goodness, I've got so much on my plate. But then an amazing thing happened. Right away, I turned to two pictures without even trying. And I'm like, there's something very wrong. And really was moved to dig deeper into those two pictures. What I found was shocking, absolutely shocking. And in the context of this book directed towards teens in the organization, really, that's what I'm like, I've got to share this part. And then in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be over on Quinn's channel, and we're going to do a deeper dive into the Young People Ask book, because I'm not going to go deep into this. I made a commitment to finish my book of Bible stories, every single illustration. So between now and when I record with him, I'm going to see what I find in a couple more illustrations, but I just don't have time to go through everything. But it's not hard for me to look at and pick out. And I really feel like God pointed me in the direction of these two pictures because they're so astounding. I really got upset. Someone needs to look into this. They really do. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. And this truly, out of everything I've seen, this frightened me a lot. Not that the others didn't. The others have their own trauma with the nightmares, but the context and what they're putting in front of our teenagers, absolutely the wrong spirit. The wrong spirit. So that's how I came to find these. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time editing, and I'm just going to show these two pictures. And in the context, you come to your own conclusion. And if you're interested in watching part 1 of my book of Bible stories, if you haven't seen it, I'll put it up on the screen. And that'll give you the groundwork for how I do this, what my experience is, how I've lived through this, how I've suffered, a shutdown depression. Oh, there's so much there. And I really encourage you, if you've missed it, to go back and watch it. And we've got 3 parts up so far, and we're going to be doing lives. I've got another live that I'll be revealing more in the coming week. So anyways, that's my, it's late, and I thought, this has to be shown. Someone out there has to see this. And I pray that someone takes a look. This is wrong. This is so wrong. So with that, I'm going to switch screens, and we'll take a look. Just 2. So let's do it. This is chapter 14. How can I make my loneliness go away? Notice what it says here. It is Saturday night. The boy sits alone in his room. I hate weekends, he shouts, but there is no one in the room to answer. He picks up a magazine and sees a picture of a group of young people at the beach. Just painting this picture. He hurls the magazine against the wall. Tears well up. He clamps his teeth on his underlip, but the tears keep pushing. Unable to fight it any longer, he falls on his bed sobbing. Why am I always left out? Terrible language for a teen. But wait till we get to this picture. It just keeps going on in this descriptive language. Do you sometimes feel like that, cut off from the world, lonely, useless, and empty? If so, do not despair. Can you see reading this as a parent? I want you to really take in those words and then watch the picture. Simply put, loneliness is a warning signal. Hunger warns you that you need food. Loneliness warns you that you need companionship, closeness, intimacy. We need food to function well. Likewise, we need companionship to feel well. This is just unbelievable. Okay, I'm not even going to go on with the chapter. If you care to pull out your book and read it, that's fine. I want you to see the illustration that goes along with this, that on the perimeters, that could be below the intention of awareness. Here you are reading this, and your mind is taking in the edges of these photographs. Not everybody, but for a lot. This is very telling. All right, let's go to, yeah, we read the words. Okay, I wanted to make sure I read the words. All right, this is my original. So, do you see how off that looks? Look at this hand. Look at the space between those fingers. You don't need to be an artist to tell that's off. Look at how the shadows in the pillow grip. And they described it. He's clenching the pillow, all right. That does not look like a teen reading this book. But regardless, watch what happens when you mirror this. This is one version. Look at that. You not only see a goat, in the context of this chapter, what else do you see? Look at those hands. Look at the representation. If this isn't setting up for CSA, in my opinion, remember, born, raised, dedicated, believing them. This keeps happening time and time and time again. Not only do I see a goat, but I very clearly see something of another nature. And the way he's grasping inside. This is sick. This is sick. What in the world are you doing? Shocking. Not really anymore. Again, read, look at this. This is just so overdone. So overdone. That finger is wrong. The spacing, I couldn't get that kind of spacing. That's done purposefully. Purposefully. That doesn't work. That just doesn't work. Do you see the angle? That's a man, but still, that's not right. And look at how his thumb is pinching like a piece of blanket. This isn't an accident. I'm sorry. In my opinion, this is not. This is frightening. Absolutely frightening. And again, there you go. That's what your children are taking in below the level of awareness. But now you're talking teenagers who are reading that content along with this. This is wrong. This is wrong. Someone's got to look deeper into this. Because this is in front, there's 8.5 million Jehovah's Witnesses. How many of those are children? How many CSA cases are out there? How many of us have grown up in this organization and been manipulated by these very books from one degree to another? This really infuriates me and triggers me from a victim standpoint. And speaking on, I know a number of viewers in my audience. I know that you've experienced the same thing, and many of us have not come forward. It's been too long. I'm 61. This is just, to discover this now is beyond sickening. I wasn't exposed to anything outside the literature of this organization to even identify anything wrong or see the difference. Parents, you gotta wake up. You gotta wake up and pay attention. Look at the publications. Quit being so focused on what the organization says not to look at. Oh, they'll tell you the big things, but they don't want you to research them. This is out of their material. This is in front of your children. Imagine reading that as a boy and then subliminally taking in just this picture, the colors, the contrast, the anger, do you get what I'm saying? This is not right. Now, the second one is going to blow your mind. Now, this one is beyond belief. It's absolutely beyond belief. I would have never picked this out. That's why I'm saying something directed me right to these pictures. Quinn told me to look in the book, and I really didn't know what picture I would pick, but it took seconds, and I picked out these two, and I'm disgusted. All right, this one. Why did Mom and Dad split up? This is chapter 4. And again, this is my book, my scan. No manipulation. I'm just simply flipping and mirroring. All right. I get so upset when I do these alone. Why did mom and dad split up? So I want you to get the context of what this paragraph is about. All right? So I haven't even analyzed this picture. I was drawn to this one. So this is the page. This is the picture. Now look at this. Okay, what can you do? Try to discern the right time to discuss calmly your concerns with your parents. Let them know how saddened and confused you are over the divorce. No, it's not the child's responsibility. My mom let me know how saddened she was. So they're putting the responsibility on the child. Perhaps they will give you a satisfactory explanation. Are you talking to a boy of this age? But wait, the biggest thing comes along. You're probably scanning at this going, what's wrong, Lori? I don't get it. Okay, I'm just putting it in context. So you're reading this, and this alone, you know, upsets me because you're talking to teens here. But if you look at this picture, it's pixelated in the publication. It is not a clear picture. It's pixelated. And your eye is drawn to this family photo, and you look at the boy, there's the red and the black, you're shifted, it's intense, and you glide right over the photo that's right in here. You assume that he's probably reminiscing and looking at, I miss mom, or I miss dad, or I miss us all together. You assume those are the same thing. You just would go right by it. Wait till you see what happens. Let me get rid of these. All right. Oh. So, here's the picture of the boy. That obviously is not going to be a family photo. Watch what happens when we zoom in. Look how pixelated that is. Do you see that? Now, look at what happens. I haven't touched this picture. This is deeply, deeply disturbing. Do you see it? There is no reason this should be here. What stood out to me was that man holding a goat. Let me see if I can adjust the brightness. Again, only so that you can see. Okay, let's delete this. And let's go to, let me see if I can get a closer. I think I zoomed in more. Do you see him? Do you see how clear that goat is? And the face? Do you see it now? Look at that. I don't care what you want to call that. What is that boy looking at? He's not reminiscing about his family memories. Do you see the goat in here? Let me take down the width of my pencil. Look at this. Here's the horns. They really pixelated this for a reason, so that your eye would go right over it. When I think back of having these books and then them telling us to throw out things, are you kidding? Do you see the little goat? And do you see the man? See the face? Nose? Please tell me I'm not the only one seeing that. I'm recovering from an eye infection, and I can see this. Do you see that? Okay, now go back to the original image. That is what that boy is looking at in that photo. How is that an accident? Let's go back and look at the context. Remember, he's got the page just ever so slightly to show it, but you're going to go right over it. I guarantee no parent's going to sit there and say, what is that? No, because in their mind, they're already reading the paragraph, putting together that family photo in the background. And I'm looking at my iPad as I'm doing this, in case you're wondering what I'm looking at. And then the boy is looking at that photo. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm sorry, come to your own conclusion, but this one really, really made me crazy. I could not get around it. That is clearly a little goat without changing anything in the picture. I didn't distort anything. And it really bothers me. What is this word right here? These bother me too, but I don't know what they mean. They're clearly letters and symbols. But this one, I almost can make out. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. When I go in and I want to just adjust the hues and highlights, any of that make it more clear? It almost looks like a boy standing in front of a man. But it's a goat. It is definitely a goat. Can you see it? I'm just in shock. I'm in shock. This doesn't belong here. This doesn't belong here in any way. In any way. I'm beyond words. I am absolutely beyond words. How does that make sense? In a book for teens, you've got one that is very, I don't want to say it on YouTube, the tone, the words, and then that picture that we saw, the first one, and then this one, what to do if your parents split up. There is no reason for that picture to be there. Absolutely none. This one really got me. Really, really got me. I really hope you can see it. I think it's undeniable. It's one of the worst ones I've ever seen, in context, in wording, hidden for children. I'm not doing anything with that. That's what the boy's looking at. I am just so tired of this. I mean, this is the first page of My Book of Bible Stories. And that was from the original of this. This is the page 1 of My Book of Bible Stories. God begins to make things. What in the world is that? For those of you that missed part 1, what is that? Well, as we discussed in the first video, look at what happens. Whoops, I got too many layers going on here. Look at what happens. Look at that. Accident? I'm beyond words. So in closing, I wish I could be like all happy, and this really, really upset and shocked me. The whole thing is so upsetting. These are children's books that we grew up with, and they wonder why they have such a problem today. Look into this. Research. They don't want you to look because they don't want you to find. We are not liars. We are survivors. We are not apostates. Many of us love the Bible. So look for the deeper dive where we'll go over a few more illustrations in Quinn's video in the next couple weeks, because I'm not going to go through this book for quite a while. I am made a promise that I'm going to stay in my book of Bible stories and finish all 183 illustrations, I think. It's beyond belief. And I mean, just even as I move forward, every picture is going to be dark. Every picture. This isn't a book for children. This is a book of nightmares. It is an absolute book of nightmares. Be sure to check out Quinn's channel in the next couple weeks. I'll put a post in my community as well when he's got it up, when we do the interview and he's got it up. But this just, it's too much. You know, the one thing I want to say in closing, I truly do, I want to end in the Bible. For those of you that want to say this is apostate. No. Ephesians 5 and verse 10 and 11. And find out what pleases the Lord, not the governing body, what pleases the Lord. Verse 11. Have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. That's what the Bible says to do. You are not protecting Jehovah's name. Do you think Jehovah is happy with this? You're protecting an organization. You're not looking for what pleases the Lord. You're looking for what pleases the governing body without quite realizing it, all under the influence of Jehovah's name. Do you think Jehovah looks down on this and says, this is great, this is how I want you to teach your children? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's not the God I know. Absolutely not. Please, parents, you've got to pay attention and look. Instead of worrying about a smurf that they tell you did whatever, it's right in their own literature. Okay. I'm tired. I've got to edit and I've got to go to sleep. And this is heartbreaking. It really is. I not only am living my past trauma, I'm thinking of the children today And what they're doing, I know, in the animation. Don't be naive. Look, truth has nothing to hide. Quit walking around and saying, it's the truth. It's not the truth. It's the truth of the governing body. It's not the truth of God. No, absolutely not. So, all right. Much love. And I'm so sorry to bring you these terrible pictures. But they're right there. They're right there. And the Bible says expose them. They're not lies. They're hurting children. I really pray that a I'm sorry, I've had an eye infection and I've pushed it. Oh, I really pray that a child psychologist, a trauma specialist, someone who can look into this catches wind of what's happening. This is not conspiracy theories or people taking it too far. I don't have to look hard, and I find things that don't fit. They don't fit. I would never find that in something from someone who's truly loving God and putting something in front of my children. I wouldn't look and find these type of things. And the trauma and pain that has been left with so many out there. The ones who have come forward are just a fraction. I really pray someone looks into this. All right. Well, good night. So much love. Please say a prayer when you're done watching this video. I know I'm going to. I said one before. I paused. I said one again. And I am going to pray hard because this just takes in darkness. It's the wrong spirit. What more proof do you need? Not only read your Bibles, read and look at your publications. Look closely. These are your children. And I'm 61, and I can't tell you all the work I've had to do to get better. All right. I'll see you next time. Amber.